What are some of your fondest memories of coaching Darren Sproles, and what's it been like seeing him have kind of this resurgence at the end of the season like this?
Listen, he's one of the smartest players that we've ever coached here, and what I mean by that is rarely on the field does he ever do something that surprises the quarterback. You know, he's got a great feel for the passing game. He's got very good instincts as a runner. And I think his preparation, you know, you might have a walkthrough, but it really isn't a walkthrough for Darren. You know, he's going through it. Just how he approaches each day, I think it's rare. He's had an amazing career, and again, he was fantastic for us.
Sean, how is your team different from the previous meeting?
It's a good question. I think, look, we're healthier in some spots. You know, you begin to find your way relative to, you know, each week your game plan might vary a little bit based on the opponent you're playing. But I think that, you know, fortunately we're healthy, and I think, you know, the key is quickly adjusting to what you're getting during the game. And I think that. Obviously, I've known Jim for a long time, and he does a great job mixing things up defensively. And I think, you know, the challenges lie once the game starts and trying to get, you know, put your players offensively and defensively in a great position. Doug on offense is the same ways. You know, they give you a lot of looks, and you know, there's a lot of threats that you got to defend.
Sean, aside from the one-fingered salute that Malcolm gave you, did you get a sense of how much that loss embarrassed him?
Listen, back to your question about Darren, and I would say this. He was probably one of the most important parts to our Super Bowl run. It was his rookie season, but I told him after the game, I love him, and I know that the feeling is mutual. I've just got a ton of respect for him as a player. And also as a person, he's a fantastic player and just as good of a person.
So you didn't take any exception to that, to the middle finger?
No, listen, we talked after the game. He's one of my guys, and I mean that. You know, I've said this, and I just said it recently. You know, probably one of the bigger mistakes we've made. And I think you got to be able to look at him and say, how did that happen? But letting him out of the building certainly wasn't a smart decision.
Hey, Sean, what did you think of Boston Scott when you had him there for a little bit?
Well, we scouted him very closely because he was right up the road here and worked him out as a returner and also as a runner. He's got extremely good balance and vision. He's got very quick acceleration. He's a pleasure to coach and be around. So he's got one of those, you know, upbeat personalities, and I think he's someone that's a very good teammate.
Hey, Sean, how much does, like, you know, rest versus momentum have to do in the game? I mean, you know, Breeze didn't play in the last game, so, you know, this weekend will be 3 weeks pretty much since he played. I mean, does that matter compared to an Eagles team that pretty much is playing for its season every week for the last 5 or 6?
Yeah, listen, it's a good question. I think it varies on the player. You know, we kind of had this approach, and it always, the 3 times it's happened has been versus Carolina for whatever reason at the end of the season, but it was the same approach in 2009. It was really the same approach in 2006 prior to the playoffs beginning relative to Drew. And so, you know, a lot of it is dependent on the player. You know, when you have a game day of 46, it's not like you can just rest the whole team. You know, it's different than 90 in the preseason. So we looked at it specific to our team and what we felt was important.
Sean, the first time you guys played, the secondary was really in flux here for the Eagles. Jalen had just kind of been out. Darby had been out too recently. And then in the game, so many injuries to that secondary. How have you seen that group specifically improve since the time that you played to now?
Well, they're getting the same group, much like an offensive line, is working together now. obviously Corey's a big part of what they're doing at safety, and you see him in some dime looks, Buffalo looks. Trey Sullivan's playing a lot of snaps in their dime. Malcolm, of course, they give you a lot of flexibility because they can cover receivers. So sometimes the man in zone looks can be similar. Rasul's back. Maddox now is playing outside. I just think the continuity and the reps that they're getting in each of these weeks now together as a group, you can see it on tape.
Sean, getting back to Malcolm and given the inexperience and the young kids they've had in that secondary with him, I know you're only looking at it from a distance on film, but can you see what he's meant to that secondary this season?
If you watch any of the games, you just see the communication, and you see him. He's got a great feel for what they're wanting to be in. He wears a lot of hats. He's playing an inside position in the dime. He's playing a safety in the nickel, obviously in the base. So, it's not unusual to see him covering a slot receiver man-to-man, but he clearly is one of the signal callers, one of the guys that starts it.
Knowing what it's like to win a Super Bowl just from afar, what stands out to you, what Nick Foles was able to do last year and then what he's able to start to do again this year with his back up against the wall and finally getting a chance again?
Man, it's been amazing to watch. This past week, as a football fan, you watch the games you really don't. I mean, you just watch them and wait and see how it all unfolds. But having a chance to see his season last year and then see what he's done this year is really been not just a great story, but a credit to him, his teammates, and to coach. He's playing with confidence. The ball's coming out. You guys played a fantastic defense. One of the best defenses in the tournament last week, and he was cool, calm, and collected. I think it's something that it's a good problem to have the way he's playing.
Hey Sean, you grew up in Delaware County. You're from around the area. Do you still keep in touch with people here? And have you heard anything from anybody about this season?
I do keep in touch. It's been a while. I haven't talked to anyone relative to this season, but man, I've got a real good memory. I can remember the back-to-back Stanley Cups. I can remember being off school on Monday after the second one, Phillies World Championship. I could give you the lineup when the Russians walked off the ice. I've had my fair share of cheesesteaks and hoagies, and really was 4 blocks away from Marple Newtown High School and played my first Pop Warner football there for the Marple Newtown Junior Bengals. So there's a lot of close ties. My family originally is from Scranton, and so I've got a lot of relatives back that way and a lot of close friends.